I'm currently at a family reunion, vacation at my girlfriend's mountain house with her family. This morning I saw a tarantula crawling by the pool. I'm terrified of spiders. So I ran, grabbed a broom, and hit the spider off the cliff into the woods below. That spider turned out to be her brother's pet. I didn't know because I had never met her brother, and he only got in this morning. No one informed me he had a pet spider either. He was understandably pissed, and after apologizing and letting him vent, I went back inside to see my girlfriend's mom waiting for me. She told me I was no longer welcome on the vacation. I went to pack my stuff because I'm not going to be somewhere I'm not wanted, and my girlfriend's mom has always been unnecessarily cruel to me. But my girlfriend's dad and grandparents convinced me to stay. Me staying caused my girlfriend's parents to get into an argument. I'll be honest, I snuck upstairs to hear what was going on, and I heard some pretty vile ducking things. We don't even know where his parents are from. He's probably just using us. She's too good for him. I don't know why everyone likes him so much. He K'd our son's pet. He's not funny. Of course our daughter can have any guy in the world, and she brings home a wannabe suburban Chris Brown. You spend so much time with him. I don't get it. There were also a ton of comments about me being smug, arrogant, cocky, too ghetto, and a fraud being thrown in. So you get the drift. She ducking hates me. However, I'm stuck on this vacation with her until Sunday, and I'm trying to figure out how to cope. I want to leave, but I feel obligated to stay because of my girlfriend and her dad. Her dad is my guy. He flew me and my girlfriend out first class. Me and her dad watched every single Cowboys game together this year. We'd spend all day in his basement watching boys' highlights on his big screen, getting hyped for the game, smoking meat on the patio, etc. He helped me get a better starting position and salary at my firm because of his connection to the CEO, who immediately took the time to get to know me and hooked me up with certain clients as a result. I don't think I can just up and leave out of respect for him and the love for my girlfriend. But holy duck, I don't think I can stand being in a house with her mom. I don't want to claim anyone's racist, so I'll present the facts and let unbiased people tell me how they feel. But at this point, I can't point to any other reason. I have a great job, I'm in shape, I make her daughter happy. I got my marketing degree in 3 years with honors. I go out of the way to be involved in the family since I plan on marrying her daughter. Her husband and in-laws love me. I'm really just confused over why she wouldn't like me. I've always been polite and respectful. Her sister-in-laws like me and she's close with them. I am 100% sure this is not due to me K'ing a spider and due to her hatred for me. She has always been blatantly rude, cold, and unkind to me. For example, her tone will immediately change and she will become short with me. There are times she blatantly ignored me. She ordered food for every single person at their house one time, didn't ask me, told me she wasn't ordering anything when I asked, and then said she forgot to ask me what I wanted for an entree and that there simply wasn't any food for him when her dad asked why I didn't have anything. Her dad ended up giving me his entree and then reprimanded her. I always had my suspicions about her mom's biases, but I wanted to use this trip to try to break through. I went out of my way to be polite to her mom. I drove an hour to get some groceries her mom forgot to get on the way in from the airport. I carried her bags upstairs for her. She's still been rude, cold, and nasty every step of the way, and I'm really struggling to keep my cool. Any tips on surviving the week, or should I just pack it in? I really don't want to because everyone else is great. Her brother is still pissed, but that's understandable considering he's probably never seeing his spider again. Who lets their pet spider crawl around outdoors unsupervised? Be polite to the mom. Make sure that your girlfriend knows that you want to get along for her sake, and see if she has any suggestions or can talk to her mom on your behalf. If you're close to her dad, tell him too that you just want to get along. Odds are, the family recognizes that she's the problem, not you. The spider thing was a big misunderstanding, and you didn't intentionally case someone's pet. This is actually pretty funny, but hearing people talk about you like that is horrible. It's like a cruel, real Meet the Fockers. It sounds like she's doing her best to get you mad, which will result in you blowing up at her in front of her family over something small, which has really been a whole list of stuff. Avoid blowing up at her even if she deserves it, because her goal is to make it look like you have an anger issue and her the victim. Use this time to observe what triggers her and when these kinds of interactions occur. If you are marrying into the family, then you need this info to survive. My friend, let's call him Ted, and his girlfriend have been in a long-distance relationship for many years. The girl, let's call her Ellen, quit her job 8 months ago and came to live with him. During this entire time, Ted and I have been reaching out to everyone we know to help her get a job. A few months ago, I noticed that the name of her last company was incorrect. When I pointed it out to her, she said that was on purpose, as her company didn't have much of a reputation, so she had basically lied. She used to work at a much more respectable firm and put down her sister's name in references, who worked there. I told her she shouldn't have done that, and most certainly not asked me to refer her to people with a blatant lie on her resume. She defended herself, saying it wasn't a complete lie, and she didn't make up work experience. I told her that's her call, but I wouldn't be able to help her anymore. After that, Ted and I were still on good terms, but neither brought up the job hunt. Some time ago, she finally converted one interview and got an offer. She told me as well, thanking me for all my help. I was genuinely happy for her. She started the job immediately. A week into it, she was in an orientation session with all her peers, and her manager publicly humiliated her for lying and asked her to immediately leave. Ellen claims that while she was packing her drawer, she overheard him saying to another colleague that someone had tipped him off. She says that since only Ted and I knew about this, it has to be me. Ted says he doesn't believe I did anything, but can't not support her, as she's an unemployed betrayed mess right now. Edit. Update here. Just spoke to one of Ted's flatmates to ask what's going on. He said Ellen has basically weaved a very convincing story about me liking Ted, and hence wanting her to not get a job here, which she claims was the reason I had refused to help her earlier. She's been in tears. Ted tried defending me, at which she started accusing him too. It's a mess, and I'm not sure if I should do something here. Don't say anything to the employer. She's using you as a scapegoat because she doesn't want to own up to her mistake. Let them be mad. Honestly, so many companies won't contact the direct reference for a company and will often go straight to the HR department. Or perhaps someone at this new company knew someone who worked at the company she lied about. She's short-sighted and is just trying to scapegoat you. Take a step back and ignore her. Perhaps if you have any other mutual friends, then do damage control before she attempts to turn any of them against you. My 23 female sister, 25 female, is getting married to her boyfriend, 28 male, of 2 years and about a month. I am the matron of honor in her wedding, as I married my own husband, 30 male, a little over a year ago. My sister and her fiancé live about a 10-hour drive or short plane flight away from my immediate family. All of her events have been local to her, except for the Bachelorette weekend, which I hosted in our hometown. Background info that seems irrelevant, but is actually material to the story. Up until last month, I had chest-length blonde hair. I ended up getting a short haircut to my chin that I thought wasn't terribly radical. Basically, the least edgy short haircut a woman can have. I received very positive feedback about this haircut from everyone, including my sister. My sister said she'd like to have her and her fiancé's bachelorette weekend in our hometown, as we live in a culturally electric area with a vibrant nightlife. The plan was for her bridesmaids and his groomsmen to have a joint outing on Saturday morning, and then split up later to have girls and guys only outings. She'd voiced a desire to have crawfish and go on a swamp tour as our joint outing, to introduce the bridal party to the local culture. Because my husband's family is very experienced with boiling crawfish, and I knew of a swamp tour convenient to my house, my husband and I really spearheaded planning the weekend for them, and decided to host a boil at my parents' home. We arranged for the swamp tour, decorated and prepared the house for the boil party, and boiled 175 pounds of crawfish, no small undertaking. All members of the bridal party sent us equal shares of money to help us cover these costs. My husband also drove everyone who had flown in from their hotel an hour away. Admittedly, we were an hour later than projected bringing the crawfish to the boil party, but everyone still had ample time to eat before they went on the swamp tour. We'd been drinking all morning and brought alcoholic drinks on the boat. I'd mentioned my hair was acting crazy because of the winds from the boat ride, and she offered me a hair tie. I reminded her I couldn't really tie up my hair anymore, as it was too short. She then replied to me, "Oh, that's right, I forgot you'd cut your hair," before turning to her friends and mumbling something private, which was met with snickers. My husband and brother had overheard what she said, that I'd cut my hair right before her wedding, without permission from her, and relayed it to me. I was pretty offended, because she'd acted like she'd really liked my hair prior to this, and also because I felt it was my choice to do whatever I'd like with my hair, but I didn't say anything. After the tour had ended, my husband and I returned to my parents' house before starting the girls-only night. But I was obviously feeling dejected because my sister and her friends, who I was supposed to party with that night, had been laughing at me. I mentioned the incident to my mom, who told me that she'd overheard my sister making some unkind comments to the other bridesmaids earlier that day about our tardiness with the crawfish, and my own wedding, which was an intimate family-only affair at an Airbnb, not being a big deal like hers will be. Again, despite hearing these comments, I was still intending to be present for the festivities later that night, although begrudgingly. I went to go shower and do my makeup. While I was thus occupied, my mom, who'd had a bit to drink, texted my sister against my express wishes, saying that she hopes my sister appreciates all I'd done for her. My sister ended up calling me minutes later to figure out what all had been said, and I basically laid my feelings out for her. We ended up having a pretty heated argument on the phone. She ended up calling me a B, and I reminded her that she hadn't gone to the same lengths for my wedding, and she hung up on me. After the argument, my husband and I skipped the festivities to spend the night at my parents' house. The next morning, my brother told me that my sister had posted several passive-aggressive things on social media, clearly aimed at me. He decided to call my sister and see how her night had gone, putting her on speakerphone for me and my husband to hear. My sister claimed she'd never said anything negative about me in the first place, and that my mom was manipulating the story. My brother mentioned he'd overheard her say she didn't approve of my haircut on the boat ride, and she admitted that she didn't like my hair and it didn't align with her wedding vision. She also said that her fiancé had actually made fun of me as well, by saying I looked like a boy. An hour or so after this phone conversation was over, she called my brother back to tell him everyone in my immediate family was uninvited from the wedding for not being more supportive. Since that day, she and her fiancé have claimed we were never uninvited from the wedding and have attempted to contact me and my husband to apparently smooth things over. But I'm pretty upset that I was apparently a huge Joe to not only my sister and my fellow bridesmaids, but also my brother-in-law-to-be. I've decided to skip the bridal shower a week from now. I will be mailing her the personalized gifts I bought them, although I will probably attend the wedding in a month. That being said, I'm not sure I'm comfortable being in the bridal party anymore, and am considering dropping out. You don't fit her vision, and I've already done most of the matron of honor duties leading up to the wedding. She can get a bridesmaid to step up the week of. Drop out if you can take the nagging and gaslighting before, during, and after the wedding. But I have to say that your family seems to have issues. The backbiting, passing stories, and putting people on speakerphone. Is this a regular thing? You were already uninvited. I would simply skip it. If it becomes a family issue, like pressure from your mother, I'd say I will go when I get an honest apology. Worst case, attend, but as a guest. I wouldn't be involved in any way. Today when I came home, I overheard my father and my twin sister arguing. It was about the ring we saw my dad buying yesterday from a jewelry store. I thought that he was buying something for Mom. Their anniversary is upcoming, and I figured he was picking something special for her. But as it turns out, he was picking up a ring for Mom, but for a different reason. He wants to propose to her again. They got together young. She became pregnant with my sister and I at 18, and everything was really rushed, as you can imagine. But now that my parents are more settled, they have all the time in the world, and my dad wants to do everything properly. From dropping on one knee to reciting vows in front of family and friends. He hinted at such an idea to Mom, and the feedback was positive, so he went ahead and bought the ring. I think this is a sweet and lovely idea from my father, and I am sure that my mother would be thrilled and excited about this. But my sister doesn't see it that way. She told my dad that he is wasting money on something as cheesy as this, and she reminded him that he promised he'd buy her a car when she turned 18. Now my sister's upset because Dad told her the car would have to wait. She told him that she will speak with our mother about this so she can talk some sense into Dad. My father is now also upset with my sister and told her to leave him alone. He is really worried she will ruin his plans. And now I am in the middle of all of this, and I don't know what to do. Again, I do think that this is a lovely idea that my dad has, and I am happy for my parents. It's just that my sister doesn't see it that way. How can I talk some sense into her? Or should I just leave her to tell Mom and ruin my dad's plans? Tell her she can kiss that car goodbye if she ruined your father's surprise. She can't actually think that sabotaging your dad's plan to renew your parents' vows is going to work in her favor, can she? Drag your sister out of the house. Go for coffee, food, whatever. Once you are alone, ask her how she thinks your mother will feel upon finding out that she, your sister, decided to be selfish and ruin your father's plan of giving her, Mom, the proposal, ring, and wedding she never got to have. Ask her if she really thinks acting like this will get her a car. Answer it won't. To be honest, your sister is a selfish piece of crap and is far too okay with making both your parents unhappy over a car. I'd tell your father to change proposal plans and take the power away from your sister.